What's up, guys? This is Ofo, and this is a never used match with the same team I used in my last Wi-Fi battle, and this one is against Snecols, I believe his name is. That might be a little bit wrong. I can't remember. It's kind of a weird name, but it's going to be a pretty good match. Unfortunately, my Sunflower didn't do a lot this game either. Probably did more last game, and neither did my Skunk Tank. So I didn't. Those guys don't get much screen time, but Jinx actually does do definitely hold her own this match, which is kind of cool because she didn't really hold her own weight last game. But I ended up leading with a Butterfree here because on the screen thing he led with an Executor, and if he did indeed lead with that, I could have set up a Quiver Dance and then Sleep Powder and stuff like that. Um, but he leaves the Persian, which is a pretty obvious lead, and the Fake Out is also painfully obvious, so I don't really want to take that. And I know my Gigalith can take that like a beast, and he does, and even with a crit, it does. It looks to be probably, what, I don't know, a 200 hit KO. So, he does show Sunny Day here, which is kind of weird, but it makes sense with Mag Mortar and Executor, who has, I believe, he has, what is that ability called? Chlorophyll. So I could be wrong with that, but I'm pretty sure he does. But either way, his Solar Beam will be powered up. So now after I set up the rocks on the Sunny Day, figuring that he was going to switch, but he doesn't. He sets up the Sunny Day and then U-turns out. And I know that I'm not exactly sure what he's going to switch into, but I'm guessing it might be something to resist the Earthquake, most likely this Executor, and I was right. And so I do get a decent hit out on that Executor. It wasn't too big, but any hit, it kind of helps. So now I go into my Sunflower, knowing that this is my only Pokemon who will really want to take a Solar Beam. Like, he won't take it well, as you'll see. He took it pretty well, but it wasn't, that looks to be about a 3-hit KO, so really, or maybe a 4-hit KO, probably more like a 4-hit KO. And with Protects, maybe even 5. But either way, he is going to be able to outstall me if he decided to. But I Protect, and I see him use Sleep Powder, and I was actually scouting for the Hidden Power Fire, which really would have made sense. But he doesn't have it, I guess, because he didn't go for it. And I do leave my Sunflower in a Sleep Fodder, knowing that I really don't want anything else being asleep, because the rest of my team is relatively, it's relatively aggressive, and I don't want any of those guys asleep. And my only other guy I wouldn't mind is Gigalith, but Gigalith seems like he might be help for the rest of the game. But yeah, so he puts me to sleep, and then I do switch out after he shows Psychic. I was kind of seeing whether or not he could, actually hurt me, but after seeing that, I know I'm not going to want to stay in. And so I do go into my Jinx to take that predicted Psychic, knowing he wouldn't want to go for the Solar Beam, because that would not have taken me out. And then this is a Scuffed Jinx, which really is working out well for me. And I do take him out with a super effective Hidden Power Fire, which, besides the fact it's boosted by the sun, that would have taken him out no matter what. So now he goes into Artemis, and I know he's going to probably want to set up the Sunny Day again. But I know he's going to probably want to go Fake Out first, so I do go back into my Gigalith. And he does go for the Fake Out again, not over-predicting, which, yeah, I don't know. It wouldn't have been a bad move to over-predict there, maybe go for a Brick Break. I don't know what his set is. I think all it shows this game is Fake Out and Sunny Day. And he opts not to go for Sunny Day here, and to switch out into his Quagsire, as I go for an Earthquake, knowing that that would, if not take out the Persian, would do a hefty amount of damage, and I didn't really want to risk Rock Slide missing. So now it brings in his Quagsire, and I don't want to take a Waterfall, but I figured he might go for an Earthquake. I'm not exactly sure why, but both of them are stab, both of them are super effective, but he does opt to go for the Waterfall, and I think I had the pressure and the sun was still up, and that's why. But I knew Butterfree could take either. So I do go on my Butterfree, and I take this opportunity to hit something with the Sleep Powder. I would have kind of liked that Quagsire sleep because, he could have turned out to be a pretty big threat. Because Quagsire, I'm not even sure if that guy is never used, but it's not too big of a deal. But I do put this Armaldo asleep, and then set up a Quiver Dance, the same old song and dance. That's the right phrase, right? Yeah, I think it is. So I do set up a Quiver Dance, and not wanting to risk missing, not wanting to risk the first Toon Wake, I do go for the Hidden Power here, thinking that knowing it would be neutral, maybe take it out, because I know Armaldo's Special defense is not as good as his defense. But unfortunately, even with a life orb, it does not take him out, and he is able to get the first turn wake and take him out with a 4 times effective rock blast. So that really sucks. So those goes my Butterfree. Although personally, I'm kind of glad because if that hadn't taken me out, it probably wouldn't have swept. But I probably could have taken out a little bit of his team with that, and maybe even swept. And I didn't really want that happening again. So now I go for Brick Break, figuring that would take him out, and he lives with probably like 1 and spins away with my rocks. And that sucks because he does have a Mag Mortar, which would have not appreciated that rock damage. But I know he's gonna stay in because he's probably gonna stay in. So I just go for another Brick Break, finish that guy off. He should have died last turn. That's bullshit. But whatever. Now he goes into his Persian, and I thought he was gonna over predict and not go for the fake out, predicting my Gigalith switch in. And I had gone for agility here, figuring that he was going to set up Sunny Day. But now I decide to just go for Brick Break instead of going for agility. Because I didn't think it was going to be worth it, because I thought I was going to outspeed most of his team anyway. But it turns out he brings in his Mag Mortar, and that is going to be able to outspeed me. And I was under the impression that Raichu is faster than Mag Mortar, so I'm thinking that that means that this Mag Mortar is scarfed. But I'm not 100% sure about that. I mean, I've yet to memorize all the different speed stats. But I bring my Gigalith, knowing that he unless he has like Hidden Power Grass or something, I could take any hit and then take him out with an Earthquake. And even if he did have that, I do have Sturdy on, so that would be able to I'd be able to survive it regardless. But I do go for Earthquake, knowing that he has this guy around, not wanting to go for the resisted rock move. And now I just bring my Skunk Tank. I was hoping he could live this hit and then take him out with, if not take him out, then at least, then maybe outspeed, and then, hit him with a Poison Jab. But unfortunately, he ends up taking me out with 1 hit, which I'm not sure if that means, I don't have any defense EVs, so it makes a little bit of sense, but, I don't know, it doesn't really matter. But right now, I do bring my Jinx, and I predict the Quagsire switch, which is a really nice move. And I do hit him on the switch and just take that Quagsire right out of the way with a 4 times effective Energy Ball, and that's nice because Quagsire, if my Jinx died, that was my last counter, because that's the only grass move I have. So I do opt to bring in my Sunflower as fodder, thinking that I pretty much have the game in the bag, and that Sunflower is definitely my most useless Pokemon with a Mag Mortar running around and he's asleep. So now I go back to my Gigalith, knowing that I can take anything. I'm thinking he's scarfed, so he's gonna have to go for Fire Blast again. But even if he wasn't, and he had like Hidden Power Grass, like I said, I do have Sturdy. But he does get a critical hit on the Fire Blast, so that is gonna take me out on my Sturdy. But fortunately, I do have that because I was at full HP, and I do take him out with an Earthquake, and that's really good. I was kind of worried that might not take him out, but Mag Mortar is pretty frail, so it's not too surprising it did. So now he's down to his last Pokemon, which is his Sock, and he opts to lock himself into close combat, and lock himself. I don't think he's actually. I think in game I was thinking he might be choice banded, but there's no evidence for that, so I'm not gonna assume that. But either he didn't have Mach Punch this turn or something, because he doesn't go for it, and I doubt that would have taken me out, but it has a chance of taking me out, maybe. But I do outspeed because of the Scarf, probably without the Scarf I would have outsped, and take him out with the Psychic. So that is a very close 1-0. It was a really fun never used match. It seems every never used match I have it's pretty fun. In overused you run into some stalling matches and some bad matches, but in never used you don't run into those too often. But hope you guys enjoyed. It's kind of a shame that my Skunk Tank didn't do more work, and my Sunflower didn't do that much either. But either way, it was a great game, and I might even have one last game with this team. Maybe, maybe not. But I hope you guys enjoyed.